My name is Festus. What do you need to know about fetal skull? You need to know you need to know about number one, the landmarks. Two, you need to know about the regions of the fetal skull. Then three, you need to know about what we call the sutures. 4, you need to know about fontanelles. 5, you need to know about the diameters of the fetal skull. And then these are 5 things that you need to know in the fetal skull, and we are going to define each one by one. So we are going to start with the landmarks. In the landmarks, what you need to know is volt. You need to know about base of the fetal skull. You need to know about phase, and you need to know about mentum. So we are going to define each one. What is the length between the orbital ridges and the nape of the neck, and we also have the bones that are involved in volt. We have occipital, and we have also 2 parietal bones and the frontal bones. The 2 frontal bones and the 2 parietal bones and the occipital. Then we have the base, which is firmly united bones that are at the lower side that protect the medulla of the fetal skull. Then we have the face. The face is composed of 14 bones, that is from the orbital ridges to the mentum. There are 14 bones that are united, that cannot be compressed. Then we have the mentum. This is the mentum, where we have the mental protuberance of the mandibular bone. And then now we are going to talk about the regions. We have regions that are composed in the fetal skull. We have occiput. Occiput is between the foramen magnum and the posterior fontanelle. We are talking of posterior fontanelle. Posterior fontanelle might be here. And then we have foramen magnum, where the spinal goes in. That is what we call the occiput. Then we also have subocciput from the occipital protuberance to the foramen magnum. That is suboccipital region. But the main region there is occiput. Then we have vertex. Vertex again is bordered by the posterior fontanelle and the parietal eminences and the anterior fontanelle. In our skull here, we have the posterior fontanelle, then anterior fontanelle is somewhere there. So this is what we are calling vertex, from the anterior fontanelle to the posterior fontanelle. And then as 2 parietal eminences, the eminences of parietal this side and the other side that you cannot see in one dimension. Then we also talk about the sin put. The sin put, also called brawl, occurs between the anterior fontanelle and the coronal suture to the orbital ridge. We are talking of the anterior fontanelle to the orbital ridges. The orbital ridges through the coronal suture. Then we are also going to talk about number 3, that is sutures. We have sutures. Sutures and fontanelles separate the bones of the skull from each other to allow for some degree of overlapping during labor that allows molding during delivery. Then we have the first one, which is called lambdoidal suture, which separates the occipital bone from the 2 parietal bones. Then we have sagittal suture, which lies between the parietal bones. Then coronal suture, which separates the frontal bones from the parietal bones. And we also have frontal suture, which runs between the 2 halves of the frontal bones, but after sometimes becomes obliterated with the time, and then it becomes one fixed joint that you cannot say there was a suture. Then we are going to talk about number 4. Our number 4 is fontanelles. The fontanelles, we have posterior fontanelles, also known as lambda fontanelle, and the exterior fontanelle, also an anterior fontanelle, also known as bregma. What do we mean when we talk about fontanelles? It refers to the point where 2 or more sutures meet. They meet and form a fontanelle. So we have the posterior fontanelle, as we talked about. We have posterior fontanelle. This is the occipital bone and the occipital protuberance. So this is the posterior fontanelle, and we have anterior fontanelle. So we are talking about posterior fontanelle, also known as lambda, which is at the junction between the labdoid, this is sagittal suture, and what we call a lambdoidal suture. Lambdoidal suture, and we have sagittal suture. So where they meet, they form lambda fontanelle or the posterior fontanelle. So this closes at about 6 to 8 weeks of age. Then the anterior fontanelle, which is also called bregma, is a junction between the frontal suture that we said after sometimes is obliterated to form one complete frontal bone. And then we have what we call sagittal suture, and then we have coronal suture. So they meet at this junction and form a diamond shaped that measures 3 to 4 centimeters long and 2 to 5 centimeters wide. So the closure of this fontanelle, anterior fontanelle, is 18 months, but some will close early as 9 to 12 months. Then we are also going to talk about diameters, the last point about you need to know about the fetal skull. And the diameters are easier to understand. I'm going to draw something that is going to make it easier. we are going to have what we call abbreviations, SOB, and we are going to have SOF, then we are going to have OFF, then we are going to have MV, then we have SMV, then we have SMB, and then we have biparietal. Biparietal is BP. So they are always 8 measurements: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 measurements or 8 diameters of the fetal skull. So I'm going to illustrate in my diagram here how we draw lines to measure the diameters. So you start from the mental protuberance, measure from the mental protuberance, then you go up and you come out to the neck, should point here, somewhere here, and you go again and come down there. Then after you come down, you go once, then from the orbital ridges you draw a vertical line that crosses from here to here, from here then to somewhere at the occipital protuberance. So I'm going to draw it like this so that you can see like that. So I'm going to name them to fill them with my abbreviations. So this one I'm going to call it SMV. I'm going to tell you what is it. Then this is MV. Then we are going to talk about this one, which is SOF. And this one is MB. Then this one is SOB. Then we are left with one, which is OF. So that's how the diameters are drawn. You should draw them with a ruler, but I tried with my own hand. So I'm going to fill up here what it means. So what it means is this is suboccipital pragmatic diameter. Then we have suboccipital frontal, we have occipital frontal, we have mental vertical diameter, we have submental vertical diameter, we have submental pragmatic diameter, then we have biparietals are 2. These ones are 2. So I'm going to give you the measurement. You start with sub-occipital pragmatic, and it's always 9.5 centimeters. Then when you come down, you add 0.5 to get 10 centimeters. Then occipital frontal, you still add 1.5, you get 11.5 centimeters. Then mental vertical, you are going to add 2, so that you're going to get 13.5 centimeters. Then submental-vertical, you're going to -2. Then you're going to get 11.5 centimeters like occipital-frontal. Then again you're going to -2. You're going to get 9.5 centimeters. And then by parietal and submental, pragmatic is the same as 9.5 centimeters. So what you need to know is that biparietal diameters are 2, and they are also called transverse diameters. They are measured between two parietal eminences, which are here between the two parietal eminences. So here we have parietal eminence 1, another parietal eminence on the other side. So they are measured between this eminence to this one. So they are 2, and they measure 9.5. They measure 9.5. So these are longitudinal or anteroposterior diameters of fetal skull, and that is what you needed to know about the fetal skull. And perhaps we might talk about something that we did not talk about it very clearly. Yeah, we are going to show you from my illustration here. This is occipital protuberance, the part which is protruding of the occipital. Then we have the occipital bone, and then we have here posterior fontanelle, and then we have this suture over here. This is sagittal suture. Then we have coronal suture on both sides, separating parietal bones, the two parietal bones, and the two frontal bones of the fetal. If it is for mature person, we are not going to have two frontal bones, but we are going to have one frontal bone, because after some times it is obliterated to form one. Then we have the frontal bone eminence on one side, and the other side we have also the frontal eminence. Then that is what you needed to know about the fetal skull. Thank you.